What's up, guys? Chimp here with another very quick market update. PPI just dropped and Bitcoin has crashed. Depends what you define as crash, I suppose. But basically, we went up, printed a new all-time high, and now what it looks like is a very clean SFP of that high, where we went up, took it out, and then just auto rejected. Um, Again, the question is, what's everything look like? Is this a good spot to buy, etc.? Personally, I don't think so. I think this is like this is the beginning of something much lower. I mean, mechanically speaking, we could bounce, right? Like if I see 120 or 121 in a couple hours, like would I be totally shocked? No. But I just don't know where the bid is going to come from. Before I even talk about leverage in the market, let's just talk about the bid. Yesterday, Bitcoin printed a new all-time high, right? And the ETF flows on IBIT were zero. So TradFi is like, you can see the flows here, right? When BTC was up only in the past, you were having days of like 700 million flows, 1 billion flows, $500 million flows. You're getting a fraction of that now when the market is up only. Like TradFi appetite for the ETF has clearly declined significantly. And so if the buying's not coming from the ETF, some people may say, hey, it's going to come from the treasuries. Well, we know Saylor can't buy anymore, right? The only way Saylor can buy moving forward is to issue a fifth preferred class of shares, which just seems unrealistic. I mean, maybe he can do that and raise another billion, but it seems like his options are so limited. His NAV premium continues to drop, his stock volatility continues to drop, so it's going to be harder for him to issue bonds. He could, but again, like it increases his bankruptcy risk significantly. So he's not going to buy. And like the final I gotta hide these DMs. The final buyer was David Bailey, right? So if all the treasuries have been deployed, like who's left to buy Bitcoin? And then like the nail in the and you can go and look at all these Bitcoin treasury companies, like they've all slowed down or stopped. And a nail in the coffin is now ETH is taking the spotlight, right? So why buy Bitcoin? Like, what is your upside buying Bitcoin at 119K when I'm just talking out of my ass here, but like let's just say you're like a hyper bull and you're targeting a double in Bitcoin's price, right? Okay, whatever. Um, but you have ETH bulls targeting 5x on price, 4x on price, right? So there's just no like relative upside. Clearly the flows have slowed down. And now we're sitting in a situation where simultaneously to flow slowing down, leverage is sitting at record highs, right? Like we had this big flush. What is leverage doing? It's still sitting at higher than it was at its prior high before the flush to 112. It's sitting $17 billion higher than it was. And a lot of this is due to ETH, right? Like ETH does have a major contributing factor to this. Um, a lot of this is sitting at way higher than it was. And so like we're sitting in a market where everyone's leveraged, everyone's bulled up to the max. You can go look at any order books. There are basically no spot bids. And we've pushed it to the extreme, right? Markets clear at extreme prices when there's extreme demand or extreme supply. Why did Bitcoin sit at 20K for 6 months? Why did it sit at 16K for a month and a half? Go back and look at the FTX lows. We sat at 16K for over a month. 16K now, we look at that, we scoff. We're like, that's a joke. We sat below 25K between 20 and 25K between January and March of 2023. Why did we do that? We sat below 32K until like October, or I want to say October of 2023. So Bitcoin sat below 25K from May, and I'll pull up a chart, let's just look at a quick chart of this. Bitcoin sat below 25K, right? And it was this entire range between June of 22 to October of 23. That's 16 months, right? It's because and specifically like on the way down, like again, markets clear until there's no supply left. And that's why they cleared at ultra low prices. And you look at the same, like, you look at the same thing at the top, right? we can literally track the demand. Like, you don't have to have a brain here. You can just look at the numbers, right? The treasuries are done buying. So who's gonna buy, right? Like, it could be some sovereign individuals, it could be high net worth individuals. And a fair argument would be like, hey, well, maybe no one's gonna sell. When there's this much leverage in the market, I think this thing can flush. I think this thing can flush a lot harder than what people think. And like, to me, for me to flush, I need to see some sort of like, I basically need to see, and I'll show you guys. What I would like to see is like a May 19th style, like a slide down and then a big liquidation candle. I think that's sort of where we're at this point. And again, maybe I'm too bearish in the room, but I really think like it's possible a lot of this wipes out. And ultimately we'll see what happens, but that's sort of how I'm feeling. And again, like I mentioned this in a prior video, right? Like last video, like you literally have Mag Gates buying Pengu. Like, come on, like how many top indicators do you have to see? Bitcoin's up so much, leverage is up so much, sentiment is so sky high. Like, this isn't rocket science. This is not rocket science. This is like simple market liquidity, market supply demand. Like, you do not need to have a brain cell to understand that upside is limited and downside is sky high. And so, if this is a cycle top, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see what happens. I mean, clearly, like, I've been wrong to some degree. I personally think, like, this is just how these things sort of play out. Like, you have to exhaust all this supply. And by the way, like, I want to show you that David Bailey tweet again. Look at this guy's replies, right? Like, I've always, like, look at the, and it's not just Bailey, right? But look at the hubris of all these bulls, right? Like, this is the type of shit you see not at the bottom. Where were the David Baileys? Where were the mega bulls at the FTX lows? All I was hearing was we're going to go to 12K, we're going to go to 8K. And then when we pumped from there, right, we went to 21, 22, 23K, all I kept hearing was bull trap, we're going to go back to 16K. And then we pumped to 30K, and then we pulled back to 26. And all I kept hearing was we're going to go back to 20, right? And then we pumped to 50, and we pulled back to 38. And all I kept hearing was we're going to go back to 32, right? You keep hearing this bullshit at the lows. You don't see these hubris-ass bulls at the lows. You only see them when the market goes up only for an extended period of time, and then everyone gets bullish, right? Like, even at the freaking summer levels, right? Like, people thought, oh, we might slide to 45 or 40, right? Even at these lows, people were saying buy at 72, buy at 68. We never got those levels. And now, like, at the highs, everyone's clamoring from the top of their lungs, like, oh, you need to buy the dip. Oh my god, like, this is the freaking mega bull run. Like, I've seen this story play out so many times. I mentioned in my last video, it reminds me a lot of, like, April, May of last year. And, again, we'll see what happens. Maybe this bounces. Maybe it goes to make a new all-time high. But I think that you're looking at such an asymmetric scenario, and ultimately the patient will be rewarded, and the greedy bulls will be punished. So anyways, we'll see what happens. Just want to record a quick video, and until next time, take care, guys.